Sponsored by Rabbi Shlomi and Mirla Greenwald. This is a Sikha from Lakota Sikhas, Chelik at Aleph, Parshas Kisisa Sikha Beis, and the topic of the Sikha is that in this week's Parsha we learned the pasuk of Vayimar Moshe, Vayikod Artza Vayishtachu. Moshe quickly bowed his head to the ground and he prostrated himself after the saying of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, and we also learned the Rashi on it. And there are 7 parts in the Sikha, although it's a very short Sikha. It's broken up into many parts. The Rebbe will, number 1, say what it seems Rashi is coming to answer. Number 2, ask 4 questions on this. Number 3, say that it's something else that Rashi is coming to answer. Number 4, ask 5 questions on this. Number 5, present the key. The key to the Sikha is what's really bothering Rashi. Number 6, based on this, answer all 5 questions. And number 7, present the Yenu Shel Torah in Rashi. On the pasuk in our parsha, right after the proclamation of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, where it says, "Vayimar Moshe, Moshe hastened, Vayikod Artza, he bowed to the ground, Vayishtachu, and he prostrated himself." So Rashi quotes the words Vayimar Moshe, and Rashi explains, "Kishara Moshe Shechina Iveris," when Moshe saw the Shechina passing, V'shama Koel HaKriya, and he heard the sound of the calling, Miyad Vayishtachu, immediately he prostrated himself. It seems that we can say that Rashi is coming to answer the question that's asked in the Gemara, which is, what did Moshe see that made him bow down? And there are 4 questions on this explanation of what it is that's bothering Rashi. Number 1, in Pshut Shel Mikra, there's no question why Moshe Rabbeinu bowed down. For Rashi explains to us on the pasuk in Parshas Boi, Vayikei da'om vayishtachavu, the same thing that Moshe Rabbeinu did over here, the people did over there, that al psuras ha'geula v'chulu, it was for the good news that they received about the geula. And so to here, since Moshe heard the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, he had to think Hashem. And therefore, because of what we just said now, this leads into our second question. The second question is, how does Rashi know that Moshe Rabbeinu bowed, Shara Moshe Shechina Iveris, V'shama Koel HaKriya? For that reason, maybe it was only for the good news that he received of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. And if there's a proof that he didn't bow down for the good news, then the question is, why didn't he? Moshe Rabbeinu should bow down and express thanks for the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. The third question is, we know that the words that Rashi quotes from the pasuk are very important because they indicate to us which words he's coming to explain. So according to our explanation of what Rashi is coming to explain to us in the pasuk, then Rashi should have quoted the words Vayikod Artza Vayishtachu, because that's what he's explaining, what made Moshe Rabbeinu do this. And he should not have quoted the words Vayimar Moshe. But we find that Rashi quotes the words Vayimar Moshe, and he doesn't quote the words Vayikod Artza Vayishtachu. And the fourth question is, why does Rashi emphasize Miyad Vayishtachu? If all Rashi is coming to explain to us is why did Moshe Rabbeinu bow, then why does he write Miyad? And according to this, all these questions, because of them, we must say that Rashi is coming to answer a different question. Rashi is coming to answer why Vayimar Moshe? Why did Moshe hasten to do this? And Rashi answers that since the Shekhinah is about to pass, and he already heard the Koel HaKriya of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, and Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to thank Hashem and bow down too late. He didn't want the Shekhinah to be entirely gone. So therefore he hastened to bow and prostrate himself fully on the ground. And on this explanation, there are also a number of questions. There are 5 questions. Number 1, it's obvious why Moshe Rabbeinu hurried, since everything that Moshe did would be bizrizos, like we find by Avraham Avinu, when it came to doing good things. Twice we find that it says Vayimar, that he did it quickly. It says Rotz, that he ran. We also see that it says Vayashkim, he woke up earlier. And this is especially true for Moshe Rabbeinu, that we know that because he was in the Srashal, in the mitzvah, he was Nen Ashan Einish Misa. And this happened when he came to the hotel, and he first tended to his own things before giving his son a bris milah. And as a result, a snake came to kill him. So certainly Moshe Rabbeinu would do everything b'zrizus, and so this is also obvious, and there's no need for Rashi to explain it to us. And this would be true even if he was only bowing simply for the B'sura Teva of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. So why is there a need for this explanation of Rashi? The second question is, the order is the opposite. First, there was Shama Koel HaKriya, he heard the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, and then there was Shechina Iveris, the Shechina passing. So why does Rashi say, Kishara Moshe Shechina Iveris, and then V'Shama Koel HaKriya? The third question is, how can we say that Moshe saw the Shechina? It says, Ra Moshe Shechina Iveris. Hashem told him, Loi sucha liris es panai geimer, v'haya ba'avar kvedi geimer, v'sakoisi kapi yolecha ad avri, v'reisas acherei upanei lo yirou. So we see from here that Moshe only saw the Shechina after it passed, and only the back of the Shechina. And even that Rashi says it's only the kesher of the tefillin. And he did not see it when the Shechina was actually passing. So how could it say over here, Kishara Moshe Shechina Iveris? The fourth question is, Rashi should say V'Shama HaKriya. Why does Rashi add the word Koil? He says V'Shama Koil HaKriya. And the fifth question is, before Vayishtachu, there was Vayikod, like it says in the Pasuk, Vayimar Moshe Vayikod Artza Vayishtachu. So Rashi should say Miyad Vayikod Artza Vayishtachu. How come Rashi says Miyad Vayishtachu and he skips over the Vayikod? Or he should have even said Miyad Vayikod, and we know Vayikod, and afterwards it was Vayishtachu, like it says in the Pasuk. So why does Rashi skip over the Vayikod Artza? Now we're going to move on to the key of the Sikha. And the key of the Sikha is to understand what's really bothering Rashi. And once we understand what's really bothering Rashi, we'll see why Rashi says what he says, and how all of our questions are answered. So the explanation in all of this is as follows. We can't say that the question of Rashi is why did Moshe hurry? Since, like we explained, it's understood that Moshe Rabbeinu did everything b'zrizus. Rather, the question of Rashi is the opposite. His question is, why does the Torah need to specify that Vayimar Moshe, that Moshe hurried, that Moshe did it b'zrizus, if it's self-understood? So now we answered our first question. We asked, it's obvious why Moshe hurried. So why does Rashi have to answer why he hurried? That's not what Rashi's answering. Rashi's answering something else, as we'll see. And because of this question, now why does the Torah have to tell us Vayimar Moshe if it's self-understood? So therefore Rashi explains that this bowing, this Vayikod Artza Vayishtachu, was not like it seems. It's not what it seems like, that it was after the saying of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, and it was done as a form of thanks for the good news. That's not what it was, but rather that it was before the saying of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. That's what it means Vayimar Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu hastened to bow down right away, immediately. When Hashem began to pass, when Rosh Shechina Iveris, not that it was passing by him already, but it just started to arrive upon the arrival. And right when he heard just the Koel HaKriya, before the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim were said. So the Torah is telling us, after the whole narrative of what occurred, the Torah doesn't want to interrupt that narrative. The Torah tells us afterwards, Vayimar Moshe. Moshe hastened to Vayikod and Vayishtachu right at the beginning. So that's what Vayimar means. It's telling us when it occurred. It occurred immediately. And this answers our second and fourth question. Second question was, why does it first say Rosh Shechina Iveris and then the Koel HaKriya? And then afterwards it says V'Shama Koel HaKriya. Because Rosh Shechina Iveris is not that it was passing after the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, after the Kriya, but rather it's referring to the very arrival of the Shechina, which happened before the Koel HaKriya. And it also explains to us why it doesn't say V'Shama HaKriya. It only says the Koel HaKriya, because Moshe hastened to bow before the Kriya. Just when the Koel HaKriya started, Moshe Rabbeinu right away, Vayikod Artza Vayishtachu. Now that we understand what it is that the Pasuk is telling us, it's telling us that Moshe Rabbeinu bowed down right away upon seeing the Shechina. This answers another question for us. Rashi first writes, Kishara Shechina Iveris. What's the question here? The question is either, why does Rashi write it first? Because even based on our explanation, it could have said, Shama Koel HaKriya. He heard the sound of the Kriya and he saw the Shechina passing, because both of them are before the actual Kriya itself. Or the question could be, why does it have to say Kishra Shechina Iveris at all? It could just say Kishashama Kaila Kriya. You heard the sound of the Kriya before it was even said. But now, according to this explanation of what the pasuk is telling us, that Moshe Rabbeinu hastened to bow down right away when he saw the Shechina just coming to pass, and before anything happened, we can understand why Rashi writes these words. Because this explains to us a question that we have here. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu bow down right away, even though we don't find it elsewhere? We don't find anywhere else that there was a Kriya to Moshe Rabbeinu, and he bowed down right away, right before the Kriya itself. So Rashi says, Keshara Shechina Iveris, since this was unique, because Shechina Iveris was the fulfillment of Moshe Rabbeinu's request of Hareini Nas Kvedecha. So there was something special and out of the ordinary here. It wasn't just a regular appearance of Hashem with a Kriya to Moshe Rabbeinu. Over here there was Shechina Iveris, which is the fulfillment of Hareini Nas Kvedecha. And because of that, Vayamar Moshe, immediately, before anything even happened, it just started passing. It was just a Kaila Kriya. There was no actual Kriya yet. Miyad Moshe Rabbeinu, Vayikad Artza Vayishtachu. There's one point over here in brackets that regarding bowing down as a form of thanks, we don't find that Moshe Rabbeinu bowed down as a form of thanks after hearing the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim. So the explanation to that is that it's self-understood that he gave thanks. Like we don't find, many times we don't find that it says that Moshe Rabbeinu bowed down, or they didn't bow down when they heard good news, even though it's self-understood that he certainly did so. According to this, we can answer the third question. How did Moshe Rabbeinu see the Shechina if he was told that he can't? So now we can explain how we can say Rosh Shechina. Earlier it says V'hoya ba'avar k'vaydi v'gemer. When it speaks about Moshe being unable to see the Shechina, it says V'hoya ba'avar k'vaydi v'gemer, which, as Rashi says, it means kishe'ever lefanecha, while the Shechina is passing. But at the arrival of the Shechina, which is just a general seeing of its arrival, that he was able to see. And it's not a contradiction either to what it says, since it's only seeing the Shechina Iveris, which is a general seeing. It's like seeing the arrival of the Shechina, and then he immediately bowed. So he didn't see in such a way of Riyas Panim. It was a general seeing of the arrival of the Shechina, and then he immediately bowed. But the type of seeing, which is a much more concentrated and focusing, didn't happen. And also, when it says Varisas Acherai, where Moshe Rabbeinu saw the Kesher of Tefillin, we know that it was greater than this. Like we see that Moshe Rabbeinu had a response to it, because that was even greater than what he saw here. So we see that this is not considered Re'iyas Panim, and it's not considered looking at the Shechina the way that Hashem said he would be unable to. So this is also answered now, because we're only talking about the Rosh Shechina Iveris, the very arrival of the Shechina, which looking at the Shechina on its arrival is a general seeing. It's not the type of seeing which is more focused and concentrated. According to this, we can answer the fifth question. According to this, we can add that in Vayamar Moshe, which means that Moshe Rabbeinu hastened to bow down right away because of this special appearance of Hashem. So we can add that in this Vayamar Moshe is also included that Moshe Rabbeinu bowed down very quickly, and in such a manner, it was so quick that we wouldn't otherwise know of, even though Moshe Rabbeinu did everything bizrizas. The explanation is that it's understood that you can't compare bowing down to the king when he appears as he is, like it was over here, that there was the Shechina itself was a Averis. You can't compare that to when the Shechina or the king appears in some form of concealment, or you know that he's there but you don't see him. And therefore, when Moshe Rabbeinu saw the Shechina as is, so he quickly bowed down much quicker than the way he did everything else. And that's why Rashi says, Miyad vayishtachu. Rashi doesn't say Miyad vayikod artza vayishtachu. So Rashi is of the opinion that vayikod means when a person bows his head, unlike the Targum that says that it means when a person goes down on their knees. So Rashi says Miyad vayishtachu, to show that it was so fast that the kida, the bowing of the head, wasn't noticed. Because if we say that vayikod is bowing of the head, then it comes out that every time there's a vayishtachu, there's also a vayikod, because in order for a person to prostrate themselves fully on the ground, they also have to bow their heads. So Rashi tells us miyad vayishtachu, to show us because it was the Shechina the way it was on its own, as is. So as a result, the mehiras, the zrizus by Moshe was out of the ordinary, more than the usual. And the way Rashi communicates that to us is by writing miyad vayishtachu, and skipping over the vayikod. So even though Moshe Rabbeinu did vayikod as its own thing, and in order to add even more, he did a vayishtachu, but it was done with such a zerizus that you couldn't even notice the vayikod, and it was as if it was just miyad vayishtachu. From Yener Shel Torah and Rashi, according to this, we can understand why Rashi uses the term Shechina. It's explained in Tanya that the name Shechina is because it's Sheichenes umislabeshes toich kol almin. And in our discussion over here, Moshe wanted to bow down when he saw the Shechina before it passed, while it was there. And that's why the name Shechina is used over here.